Hello, you're listening to Otaku Spirit Anime Cast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here with Chris.
Yo.
And today's episode is our summer 2024 anime season first impressions. It is time. Despite the fact that I've done a lot of videos on a lot of the shows, I think I'm pretty much done with the videos. I think I want to make like 2 more, but I'm like, yeah, I think I've covered what I want to cover. Like the rest is like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about it. We'll talk about it on the podcast. We will eventually cover everything, just not a whole video for it. That's where it gets to what's wrong with it.
It looks like it's aiming this way.
What's aiming where way?
My camera.
It just got more door than you. You're moving more and more that direction every time we record. It's like you're trying to cover up, because you used to be able to see her butt, and now you're covering up her butt. Are you censoring things?
Probably.
Is this some sort of censorship, Chris? Don't run over Yuki though.
You tell me I'm over here.
There's a middle ground, Chris. Don't squish Yuki. Don't pull wires off the desk, and don't cover up Rem's butt.
I'm a clumsy person.
That's Rem, by the way, for those that don't know. They only get her butt and her legs. Anyways, yeah, this is the summer 2024 anime season first impressions, and we'll be going through all the shows. We're not going to try to rush to get certain amounts in each episode. We'll just kind of cover as we go until we get to the last one, and we'll try to get it in one. But we just want to give every show a shot, give you guys our full opinions. Hopefully Chris can go with me on a lot of these. It seems like he did better than I thought he would. He's like one episode on a lot of stuff, though, so it's like, we'll wait until next time, maybe. But yes, as per usual, at otakuspirit.com is where you can go for our links, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, ways to support us. Greatly appreciate everybody that supports the channel. It means a great deal to us. But I found out, well, I think I found out before, I just didn't really clarify it. But yeah, apparently the timestamps in the podcast audio version for people that are outside of Spotify, some people, is completely messed up. Because because if you're on a different platform than Spotify, it will embed the ads into the audio file. Whereas when you're on Spotify, it just pauses the video and it plays an ad. It has to hard embed them because it can't play ads elsewhere. So everybody's timestamps are all screwed up. I'm like, I sent that to Spotify because they're pretty good about listening to feedback. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell you guys would do to fix this. But yeah, you guys are screwing up my timestamps with the ads. So I don't know if you can let us input all the timestamps, and then based on what you implant in there and the length of them, you can adjust them. I don't know. That's a really good idea. Yeah, I thought so too. I'm smart like that. Thanks, people, for the feedback. I always love people giving us feedback on stuff like that. Again, listening to the ads supports us, so thank you for dealing with them. But anyways, that said, let's get into summer. We have a lot to go through. Like, my wife has no emotions, or boku no suma wa kanjo ga nai. This one is streaming on Crunchyroll for 12 episodes, done by Tezuka Productions, based on a manga. It's a comedy, romance, slice of life, sci-fi. And yeah, this one opens up with a guy named Takuma, and Takuma works a lot. He's your typical Japanese salaryman guy, just working for a living. Doesn't really have much time to take care of his massive apartment. Like, this dude has a massive apartment. He doesn't have no time to clean or cook. Massive apartment. I got a kick out of that. He's like, I don't have time. And it's like, dude, it's like one room. Like, what do you have to clean? Anyways, you just don't let it get too carried away. You just every week do a little bit.
Considering the size of that closet,
that is enough to fit a waifu in there. Apparently,
yeah.
A very small waifu, but it fits a waifu. That's where they put their futons. That's why it's big.
Anyways, that's what it is. Andrew's got this all figured out.
Well, I don't know. I just learned what I learned from anime. I don't know if it's actually real. That's like the whole sick thing. I'm just assuming that they get sick a lot, and it's like debilitating.
It's debilitating
because it's an anime all the damn time. I just assume they always bleed the nose because they see something ecchi because it's anime, and obviously it's based off of reality, right?
Exactly.
I
mean, the exaggeration
exaggeration.
Exaggeration is only so far.
Just like if you eat spinach in America, apparently you get massive, I don't want to say the other word because YouTube might get mad. You get muscles. Cannons, there you go. Cannon's okay to say. You can't say the other word. It's bad right now on YouTube. YouTube, things happen in the real world, so thus YouTube changes all their policies to ban everything that has to do with that.
Gotcha.
Because so apparently...
did you just have to urusai me?
If I remember.
If you remember.
Dude, today's Mushoku Monday. I think it was 32 nyas. I got a little heated. In the days of Mushoku Monday. We had so much fun counting it as it went along. I eventually had to take the file and figure. Anyways, My Wife is the Emotion is the show we're talking about. But yeah, this one follows Takuma. His house is always messy. He's working all the time. So he got a second-hand robot made. Robot thing. What do you call it? Like an appliance. It's an appliance. It's a robot appliance. And the robot appliance is supposed to... He said that it's supposed to cook based on what's in the refrigerator. It'll open the refrigerator, whatever in there, they will go based off this database of recipes, and they'll cook something for him at a set time. He never implied that she cleans too, but I'm assuming she cleans because he made the comment about not cleaning. So she cleans, and she does the food. I think she just does dishes and food. I don't think I've ever actually seen her clean, like, the house, the room. So is it only dishes in the... This is just getting in the weeds. Anyways... Eventually, like, he's sitting here just kind of, you know, swigging back drinks while she's cooking him a meal.
She does have the ability to answer phone calls.
That's true. And texts, too. She's really fast at it because, like, right there in her brain. Mm-hmm. And search the internet for information. But anyways, at some point, he's, like, swigging back some drinks. He's kind of feeling lonely, like, thinking about, you know, relationships and whatnot. He talks about how he did have one girl that he confessed to, like, back when he was in high school or something like that, but that didn't work out. And so he hasn't really been looking into women. He said something to the effect that he doesn't think that he'll go and pursue somebody again or a woman again because they talk about needlessly dramatizing things, and he doesn't want to deal with it. But anyways, he just kind of makes a passing comment at his robot saying, "Would it be really nice if you were my wife?" And she just turns and looks at him with like this stone face. Of course, she has no emotion, doesn't really show an expression, but she just stares at him. Then she goes back to cooking. The next day comes back, and it kind of implies that as he's drinking some other drinks, she starts to do weird things, like trying to make him drink a whole bunch of water to get rid of, like, you know, all the alcohol in his system so he doesn't have a hangover the next day. And eventually it kind of just comes to light that she just believes that she is his wife. You said that you wanted to become my wife. I thought that we were husband and wife. He's like, oh yeah, sure, that's great. So it kind of goes from there to then just kind of having a life together as man and robot, and eventually getting to the point where he wants to take her out to the park or whatever, and he's starting to feel uncomfortable about, like, holding her hand or whatever. Then his sister comes over because she answers the phone and says that she's his wife, and then the sister immediately rushes over there like, why the hell you didn't tell me? She comes to find out, oh yeah, this is a robot, but she's like all for it. The sister's like super supportive of it because it's just an oddity in relationships, and so she starts geeking out about it. But yeah, it's just their daily life together. He gets her a ring. She can't put it on because her, like, system says that it's a contamination, so they have to put on a necklace. And they go out to the park where she makes him, like, a hard-boiled egg inside of her stomach before running out of power because a storm comes, and then he stays with her even though it's, you know, really cold that day.
He wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, he lied. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't trust anything he says afterwards. Is that another lie? Is that another lie? I get it. You can't lie to a robot. Anyways, what's your thoughts on this show so far?
I loved it. It's absolutely
disgusting.
adorable.
You're disgusting. How could you like a show about liking a robot?
Exactly.
Don't you think it's like kind of relevant today? Standards, like,
well, don't forget,
so much.
I am AI generated, so I
you're like, it's my kin. He's like, I wanted to marry Mina.
But yeah, it's I don't
know if you watched more than me. I watched, I think, up to the point where Akari finally left. I don't think I watched the episode after that. Did Super Mina show up yet? They talked about Super Mina.
I didn't see that.
Which Super Mina is the next model, by the way. Mina herself is secondhand. He bought her. This is very similar to Chobits, people. He bought her secondhand, and he's not sure if the previous owner maybe put some sort of special program in her because she is accepting the idea of being married and everything. So it's kind of opening that door to what if Mina is special in some way to other robots, and similar to Chobits, where he basically picked her up in a trash dump and brought her home, and she was like obviously very special. They find out later on in the series. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't. Where you just talked about, that's as far as I've gotten so far.
I didn't like Akari. It's too much. I mean, she's got a good personality in the idea that she's so openly accepting this whole idea. It's not really so much that she's openly accepting the idea that he is with a robot. It's just she just likes weird things like this, and so she's super supportive of it. Like even going out and getting Mina, but that outfit, they finally showed that outfit. It was super cute. Mina's other outfit that she buys her. Like, buys her a whole ton of clothes. Like, she's totally dressing up Mina and everything like that.
But yeah, so far I've loved it. I absolutely got a kick out of the park kind of
You just liked her hair
exchange.
down.
Yes, I loved her
So
hair
much better
down.
with her.
That's what it's really well.
It's her
all it
solar
was,
panel.
yeah.
Her hair down is her solar panel.
I thought that was brilliant. That was a cute little idea that they threw in there for increasing the power input and all that stuff. So yeah, I
Just
like
an
that.
excuse to let her hair down.
Exactly. And that's all that matters. I mean, because after all, I like long hair.
Yeah, yeah. In a day and age where it seems like every freaking character wants to cut their hair.
Yeah.
That was like Monogatari series. We had another character pop up here recently that cut their hair, and I'm like, why does every character in Monogatari series have to cut their hair?
Instant
Please stop.
deal breaker.
Stop.
You cut hair, cut hair, instantly, you're a 0 out of 10.
There's so many of these like female lead character shows where they just have to cut their hair.
Yeah.
Something bad happens, and it's a symbolism. Symbolisms. Mm-hmm. Plus, the animators don't want to animate this. I wonder if sometimes like these the source material creators like mangakas and light novel writers, I wonder sometimes if they purposely have that moment in the story because they're afraid if they don't, nobody will want to animate their show. Like, if I don't cut the character's hair at some point, they are not going to adapt this because they're not going to animate that hair. Or they're going to force me to have to change the canon or something like that. Just cut the hair anyways. But that's not part of the source material. We're just going to cut it anyways. We'll add a scene in here. Yeah, I'm enjoying the show, though. I think it's cute. It's got I will admit, I did like the park scene, but I think, like, overall, I don't know that necessarily this show's doing too much that's keeping my interest. And I could probably chop up most of that as just kind of getting really sick of Akari's whole thing really quickly. I mean, it wasn't like a huge segment of the episode, but it was a pretty significant part of the third episode, I think it was. And I kind of got sick of it. And there's other aspects outside of it that I just don't really care too much for. But I think overall, it's sweet. It's kind of one of those ones where I'm like, I guess I'm more curious about what direction it will eventually take, or is it just going to remain this idea of him constantly just coming home to her and she's taking care of things and advancing in some way that kind of surprises him? I
don't know that the slice of life aspect of it is interesting enough to keep it going. So I can agree with you on that. Because this almost feels like something that you want to get a little bit more deeper into. I guess the programming, the robot and the human actually fall in love with each other, blah blah blah. I guess that would be a more interesting concept, but I think that's been overdone. So I mean, but will the slice of life be enough to carry it? It'll be interesting to see if that is, because I don't disagree with you. It is cute and it is sweet, but is it enough to push it above the rest of the pack?
I did get a kick out of the fact that I think it does have some kind of clever gimmicks with the comedy. I mean, that like the whole segment where she takes a bath with him and afterwards she has to flush it. So like this compartment opens up and it just flushes everywhere, and I'm like, that's kind of lewd if you think about it. I'm not sure if they're going for that, but it kind of feels like they're going for that. Like this whole kind of showers thing that she does after the shower. I don't know. It's got. I think my biggest hang up that I have at this show is that I find Takuma creepy. I don't know if you get the same sense. I just find Takuma kind of creepy. I got that sense from in the first episode. He kind of has that whole like, oh, I wish we can get married. And he's got that kind of creepiness to him. But then like after that, it's just, he's so awkward, I guess. And I guess I can kind of feel it because he's been alone for so long, or presumably he's been alone for a long time. I mean, going out on his own and getting a job and not having relationships since school. He seems to interact with people. And it does seem like every single person is perfectly fine with it. Even the coworkers like cool with it. Like it doesn't seem like anybody has a problem with this. I guess this is a day and age where people are kind of accepting the idea of getting with an appliance, as he kind of puts it. But he just still kind of feels kind of awkward. So that kind of confuses me as to the acceptance that people have of it, just because of how kind of awkward and creepy he kind of gets about it. So I don't know, that's kind of the one biggest hang up I have, is I don't really care much for Takuma character, and he's literally 50% of the show. And again, his sister's equally is kind of awkward. So I guess it kind of equates to the comedy that my off-put nature of the characters is probably more kind of driven by just not caring much for the comedy in a lot of regards. And now, granted, there's a lot of it that I do appreciate, but I think there's a lot of it that I don't. So I'm kind of in this middle area with the show overall. It's like I think it does some good things. It looks decent, but at the same time, I don't know that it necessarily is giving me enough that makes me like, oh my gosh, I got to watch the next episode. I'll probably end up watching it, and though I don't think it's really doing anything that offends me. Besides the fact that it's pro getting with AI rather than people. It's gonna ruin birth rates, Chris, even more.
Yep.
It's time to stop the podcast and have a discussion about, hey guys, you know the birth rates are going down in Japan. I like it whenever something like this comes up with certain people. It's like, we've got to talk about birth rates and how birth rates are bad right now. It's everywhere, people. It's not just Japan, it's everywhere. But no, I did find it it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, I wonder if this show is being adapted just because of how much discussion is happening right now with AI. Like all these big advancements that are happening with like open AI and stuff like that. If this is like an answer to that, let's do an adaptation of this show because it's technically where we're going. Where eventually we'll have very readily available robot chicks that you can have in your house, and there's going to be a lot of people that are probably going to fall in love with them, especially if they're a cute little girl like Mina is. I do get a kick out of the fact that they got that little box that they changed it in the anime. In the manga, it's a crate. They have like this little crate next to the side of the sink that she gets on. I think they put her like a footstool in the anime. So I thought that was kind of cute. She's kind of tiny. Again, she fits inside the closet.
Yeah.
She's portable. I kind of felt bad about that. Again, that's kind of him though. It's like he has all these moments where he has those hesitations, I guess, which I think is kind of a nice thing to give credit to, is that he always has hesitations, but then he follows through. Like again, when he was walking with Mina to the park and those girls were nearby and they were talking about it, they're like, oh, that thing's cute. And then he had this like hesitation with like being next to her. And like, I think he even outpaced her or something like that. But then he went back and he grabbed her hand. So it's like that whole thing where he's embarrassed to be with her, but then he goes, no, I shouldn't be embarrassed. She's technically my wife. And then like the whole thing with Akari, she shows up at the house and he literally just like shoos her into the closet and he goes to close it and he goes, wait, I can't do that. And he brings her back out. It's like, yeah, that's granted. Akari was already going to know. She's going to come in that door and go, okay, where's she at? What do you mean? Your wife, the one that answered the phone. Oh, she's in the closet.
Yeah.
She's in the closet with my other skeletons. Don't open it. Wait, you have a wife in there? Well, she's a robot, so it's not that bad. it's my wife, yes, but it is a robot, so I can put her in the closet, just like all the rest of the appliances. Again, did you see her do any other cleaning?
No.
No, she did vacuuming once, didn't she? I want to say that she had a vacuum one time.
No, I don't remember seeing that.
I don't know why I'm stuck on this. That's my wife has no emotions. Check that. That's, yeah, there you go.
But more than likely she wouldn't allow him to do any housework at all because he's too inefficient.
Yeah, you're going to lower the efficiency of my work if you do that. Like, he's like, what was it? He was helping with cooking or was the dishes? And she literally just grabs his wrist and he's like, ow, ow, ow. She's like, stop. Just get out of the way. You're in the way. Get out of here. Let's talk about the better waifu. It's not necessarily waifu yet, but it's waifu to everybody that's watching it. Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, or tokidoki bosoto roshago de dereru. Yeah, dereru tonari no Alya-san. This one's streaming on Crunchyroll, running for 12 episodes, done by Dogokobo, source of light novel, comedy, romance, slice of life. And this one opens up with Kuze, and Kuze is going to school, and very quickly we meet this one girl that's in his class named Alya, or he calls her Alya. Her name is Alyssa. Alya is a girl that seemingly doesn't like him, is very, very harsh with him because he's kind of a slacker, and she's very much a go-getter. Like, she's all about perfectionist and everything like that. And but on a regular basis, when she's bad-mouthing him or being mean to him, she'll just randomly blurt out something in Russian. But while nobody else in the class knows what she's saying, and she doesn't think really anybody knows what she's saying, she's just saying it because she's saying her actual real feelings, which is flirting with Kuze. Now, the big plot twist is that Kuze knows German or Russian, so he knows exactly what she's saying. He knows that she's basically flirting with him or saying things like, "You're just so cute," or I'm right here, come get me. He doesn't know what I'm saying. All this kind of flirtatious stuff that she just assumes that he doesn't know. The reason why he knows Russian is because when he was younger, at some point he was going to this one park and there was a girl there that spoke Russian. So he went through like the whole process of learning Russian just so that he can talk to her, just so that she wasn't alone. And so cut forward to now, he's able to use it to know what Alya's saying. Now, he won't tell her because he's heard her say so many things that are extremely embarrassing that if she knew that he knew what she was saying, would probably wreck her. So he's basically chose at this point not to ever admit that he knows what she's saying. And instead, he'll just kind of say, huh, would you say something? And then she'll say, oh, I was saying how much you're an idiot or how much you're a babaka. But yeah, it's just kind of them on the daily routine, doing the school stuff, her messing with him, and at the same time saying things in Russian. Going so far as to coming to school with, like, you know, her legs soaked, so she starts to take off her stocking, and then she has him go get her replacement stocking and then put it on her leg for her just to kind of mess with him, and then get a peek at her pantsu. Later on, we meet the student council members, which is Yuki is the main one, and kind of find out later on Yuki's actually Kuze's sister, and apparently they went into student council in middle school. Now Alya wants to be the next student council president, so Alya and his sister Yuki will probably be head-to-head the next year, so there's that whole thing. And then in the third episode, we meet Masha, who is Alya's sister, and she has a locket that has a picture of a boy that she met a long time ago that looks an awful lot like Kuze. So it's probably a good chance that she might be the one from his past that he learned Russian to meet, but now she knows that her sister Alya likes Kuze, so she might be giving up on that question mark. Who knows? And we also got a little bit of picture into why Alya likes Kuze, which is because when she first moved back to Japan, he kind of helped her realize that she doesn't have to do everything by herself and that it's better to do things as a group and not rush things too much. But also that Kuze and his sister kind of got separated because their parents separated, and that seems to be a kind of a rough point in his life. So that's the show so far, and yeah, lots of smug faces. Gotta love the smug faces, man. Whoever's Dogo Kobo, obviously, but yeah, the character artists and stuff, chef kiss. Oh yeah, and sister's waking you up in the morning. Good morning, my brother. I love that scene. I can't get enough of it. It's a good sister, man. It's a good sister. That's like the biggest debate right now. I mean, the answer is obviously always like, why not all? But yeah, the biggest debate right now is like every episode there's a new waifu. Like in the first episode, everybody's like, Alya, my gosh, #1 waifu of the season, probably the year. And then the second episode comes out, oh my gosh, everybody's all for the sister. Everybody's like on Team Yuki. Third episode comes out, everybody's on Team Masha. It's like, can they keep this up? Can they manage to make every episode introduce a waifu? That's a question mark.
I don't know.
So what's your thoughts on the show so far? You've only watched 2 episodes, right? You haven't seen Masha's episode.
I've seen half of.
You said half. That's right. Because you got to the part where they met.
All right.
Or again, they reunited.
Well, I technically met Masha because Alya was talking to her in a room, and they were discussing.
She was explaining why she liked Kuze.
Yeah.
Or they're friends. They're friends, Chris. They're not going out. They're not dating.
Definitely
not. Just friends.
Because
it's so cute because it's like, yeah.
Because cute Russian
friend.
comment about how so-and-so is very, very cute, but Japanese comment of he's annoying and a slacker and all that stuff. But
that is kind of funny. I mean, she's technically admitting that their relationship currently is friends.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like one of those, but you do want to go out with him because literally every 2 seconds you're saying something. It does make you kind of wonder, does she actually, the big plot twist is that she doesn't actually know Russian. She thinks she does, so she's actually trying to say mean things. She just says really inappropriate things that are flirtatious. She's mean to say bad things. Like somebody purposely taught her wrong to say good things whenever she wants to say. Maybe she met somebody and says, teach me every foul language you possibly can say in Russian. And so they're like, I can't teach her this stuff. She'll get herself killed. I'll teach her all the good things. Yeah, this means F you. And it's like, I love you or something like that. That's the big plot twist. It's coming.
But I think the show is absolutely fantastic. I really do. I like She's just
Aya?
Arya.
Alya?
Yeah, it's not Alya, it's Arya. But no, either way, I know somebody's probably destroying me in the comments. I don't really care. I that's the way that they say the R's and L's, whatever. But I absolutely
Don't get me started on Edis. I'm so sick of people commenting about Edis.
But I absolutely love her. She's just too cute. I really do love the kind of taunting back and forth between the two of them. The Kuze kind of just calling her bluffs, her trying to bluff her way into this relationship. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastically done. I love the artwork. I do like the animation when they do hit it just perfectly. So yeah, absolutely top notch for me. I like Andrew said, his chef's kiss. Yes, absolutely.
I think overall, like, yeah, I think this show does multiple things perfect. And yeah, first and foremost, Dogakobo is doing an incredible job. Their character designs are fantastic. Just the expressions of the characters. I can't get enough of the girls and their mischievous looking faces. Most of them all have cat mischievous faces, and I love it. I just love it. Like Yuki, just love it. It's just massively mischievous. I mean, I think they pretty much all did. I don't remember if Masha did it, but they all kind of have that same kind of demeanor.
The way she talks, you know, she's got to have a cat face at some point.
She's gonna do it eventually. Yes, eventually.
She hasn't done it. She will.
But I love it. Visually, it's absolutely top notch. Getting into what I think also makes it great is that it's doing very well in introducing each of the characters and just kind of making each one of them just lovable in some way. They all have some sort of characteristic to them that makes them work. Alya, again, she's very mischievous. She's got that kind of... She was technically from the get-go when he first met her in high school. Again, I'm kind of assuming that there's a chance that she could have also known him in the past. But when she meets him in high school, she's very so much about, I'm by myself, I'll handle it. Her whole thing is that she's from a family that can be seen as her basically being raised on a silver spoon. And she doesn't want to be seen that, so she wants to achieve things on her own merits. So she's very hardworking, and if she has to do it herself, she's going to do it herself. And he proved to her that there's another way of looking at things and not to tackle things the wrong way. And that kind of helped her. And they kind of had this little cute little back and forth, and eventually they became friends. And kind of going from that is that, yes, she keeps expressing this through her Russian, but at the same time is always kind of snooty and mean to him. And then it kind of turns this whole thing where, obviously because of her nature, she doesn't have any friends, so he kind of extends the hand to be her only friend, and it turns this kind of a fun little thing between the two of them. She's just a lot of fun. And then going into, again, just like every single episode, they add a new character. Yuki technically was in the first episode, but that's when we find out that, yes, it's his sister. Just nobody knows about this. And yeah, her just being an absolute goofball. I love her kind of flirtatious nature as well. Her stance on cis-con, bro-con stuff is chef kiss. The idea that they're cis, you can't have all sisters are childhood friends, and romance between siblings isn't worth it unless they're actually blood related. Like, this girl knows it. This girl knows where it goes. She's just great because she kind of plays into sort of his more, I guess, heavier sides of conversations. Like when the whole thing with the stalking happens, he immediately texts his sister and says, I think I got a thing for legs now. She's like, great. Legs are like this great paradise to the feet and whatever. It's like, I love this girl. She's great. But yeah, I just love her attitude in school too. Like that whole scene where they were in the supply room and she's like, literally, you're late. And he's like, oh, I held you up. Well, you're supposed to apologize. Something like that. Oh, you waited for me? I'm so sorry. And she's like, yeah, you made me wait. And then suddenly Alya comes around the corner and he's like, you totally planned that. You knew Alya was in the room. She just knows how to trip him up because obviously they've known each other for a long time. And then, like I said, third episode, bring in Masha. And now granted, Masha is just more of like, she's like, seems to be very comforting and nurturing. Like the whole situation with Yuki in the first part of it is really her trying to give her sister a pump. And then later on, when she finds out that the one that she's technically interested in is Koze, which she knows who Koze is from the past, it's like, I literally told everybody that's like, you can audibly hear her heart break in that moment because it's literally like, this is the one my sister likes. It's the guy I was looking for. I can't do this anymore. Like it literally, she doesn't say anything else. Like she could say, "Oh, I know you from our childhood. I have my locket with your picture, and I missed you or whatever." She doesn't say anything. No, she says something in Russian, which is totally like to jab at him, but it's like, oh, that like so heartbreaking. And then later on, it's like, yeah, you know, these two have known each other for a long time, probably through a tough time, because it's like he totally gets nostalgic with how she embraces him. So it's like, I know they're not going to go with Masha, so don't break my heart like this. Alya's the cover girl. I'm not falling for this. That's where I kind of got a sense of like a more heavier subject the series can get into, which is handling very well, is it obviously seems like Kuze has gone through some bad stuff in the past with his parents kind of breaking up. And my assumption is that he was at the park because he was trying to get away from that situation and he's getting away from the house. And that's when he ran into her, and that's probably why he learned Russian, so that he had somebody to talk to, and it ends up being Masha. Now, it still can be Alya, and I have a theory that it's both of them. I think he knew Alya and Masha at the same time. Like, they were both going to that park, and he met them both. He just did... It could be in his own memory he merged the two. Because the girl in his memories had blonde hair and blue eyes. So she has the eyes of Alya, but she has brown... But she doesn't have... But Alya doesn't have blonde hair. So either Alya dyed her hair in order to fit in a little bit better. Of course, why would it be silver? Or combining... I know this is weird. Combining Masha's more brownish hair with Alya's silver hair, that's that kind of blondish, I guess you could say. But then going with Alya's eye color. I don't know. That's my theory. Again, Masha has a picture in her locket of him, and Alya's eyes are the same color as the girl from the past. So I'm curious if it's a combination of the two of them, or I don't know. Maybe he just... I don't know. I'm curious. I'm curious at this point, but I hope it doesn't end in heartbreak. It's already heartbreak because Masha's like hurting me here with her seemingly giving up. But again, her kind of embracing him at the end with him kind of remembering his parents and them breaking up and everything, and him feeling nostalgic for her embrace kind of makes me feel like she's embraced him before when they were younger, when he was dealing with that. So...
Or we could go really dark and find out that Masha is a second personality of Alya and she doesn't actually exist. She's just a figment of her imagination, and actually Alya switches back and forth between both characters when she's talking to herself.
We haven't seen them in the same room except for in that one bedroom.
Yeah.
Everybody treats her differently depending on who they're talking to. She just puts on a brown wig and goes around talking to people. Puts some contacts in, starts running around. I don't know. It's got enough in there that kind of makes it a little bit intriguing, but at the same time, great chemistry, great comedy, a little bit of sprinkle of ecchi in there that I really love as well. It's not trying to go overboard with the ecchi. It's just kind of here or there. A lot of the encounters were fantastic. I mean, every episode has been literally almost perfect episodes. Like the whole scene with Yuki, Alya, and Kuze in the noodle shop, and out of nowhere, because nobody knows that Yuki is his sister. Out of nowhere, she just mentions, "Oh, I like your outfit." She's like, "Oh yeah, I was going for something more casual. I woke up in I was in Kuze's bed this morning," and she's like, "What?" Yeah, and then I asked him if I could borrow one of his shirts. Alya is just broken, sitting there like, "What?" But then it like totally gets sidetracked by the fact that she eats this really spicy noodles, and then suddenly she just got this expression on her face of like pure pain. Again, the expressions just studio Dogokobo. Thank you. Amazing studio. It's just good overall. I'll be surprised if I ever watch an episode of this show and it's not incredible. Like I watched Makane, and I was like, I immediately told some people, I'm like, man, Makane I think is like the best new show this season. They're like, what about Alya? I'm like, damn it, you're right. There's Alya. Making my top list of the season so far is gonna be very difficult, but this is definitely going way up there because I'm loving it, every bit of it. So we'll see. We'll see if it doesn't go and just absolutely plummet after this. I'll eat my words. No, in the end, it'll be like, what incredible 3 episodes. That's Alya, sometimes Hydra Filling, and Rashan. Let's see here. We have Pseudo Harem. Pseudo Harem, another rom-com series. Pseudo Harem or Giji Harimu. I gotta put it over here too. Giji Harimu. We're not doing that show. I told Chris I kind of hope that he can watch Stepsister. Because it's kind of good, question mark. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued is all. But anyways, Pseudo Harem though. Crunchyroll's streaming it, running for 12 episodes, done by Nomad. The source is a manga, comedy, romance, slice of life. And this one opens up with Rin Nanakura. And Rin is starting her first year at her new school. And immediately she's like, I'm going to go join the drama club. She goes to the drama club. She's looking for it. Then at some point, some guy named Eiji shows up, Kitahama. Eiji shows up and she's like, hey, can you show me where the drama club is? I want to join it. And he says, oh, yeah, it's right over here. But sadly, I'm the only member. I'm the club leader. And she's like, oh, that's interesting. And it kind of gets in this whole like thing in their mind about how this is like the start of a great story or whatever. And no, it turns out when they go to the actual club, he's not the president. And there's a lot of members of the club. So he kind of just, he acted and she fell for it. So very quickly, the actual club leader tests her, like making her do a Romeo and Juliet scene. She pretty much floors everybody because she does a really regrettable job. And then it kind of jumps forward to Rin and Eiji kind of hanging out. And at some point, he mentions the fact that he dreams that he'll be super popular and have his very own harem. And her response to this is literally to make him a harem by acting out different characters in a harem. So she has a tsundere side, she has a cool side, she has a little sister side, and she plays out all these different characters to simulate to him that he has a harem, and he loves it because, yeah, tsundere-chan's so cool, and snobby-chan is so cute, and all these kind of things. So, and they just do different things and hang out. But yes, the obvious thing here is that secretly, Rin actually really, really loves her senpai. So she's actually playing out these roles to favor him, but she really wants to tell him how she really feels. And every time that she does kind of slip it out, she always kind of just backs off by saying, oh, yeah, that was Cool Chan saying that. And so, yeah. She'll never confess. Cool Chan will. Snob Chan will. Or Spoil Chan. Was it Spoil Chan they call it in the subtitles? What's your thoughts? Review. Impressions.
It's a review?
Yes, we're doing a review and we're just going to not do any more of the show. I'm joking.
If I review it now, it probably won't go so well. If I give it a first impressions, it might be good. I've actually warmed up on this show. I did not like the artwork, and I probably still do dislike the artwork, but I am warming up to the nature of the humor in this show. It's really, I do enjoy it. It's strangely enough, I just like the interactions between Eiji and Rin. I think that they are a lot of fun. I do love the concept of her actually playing out an entire harem for him. It's just absolutely works for this story.
What was the news? The last one that I seen her introduce was the student council president one.
Yeah, she added the student council president. I think that one is an absolute goof. I love it. It's really weird. Like I said, I don't know how to explain it other than I just think it works. To me, this is almost a kind of a weird teasing girl kind of interplay. They're trying to do that interaction, and I think it's actually pulling it off pretty well. But yeah, I actually am starting to enjoy it, and I'm actually looking forward to it week to week now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think I'll ever like the style of it. I've mentioned that, yes, I acknowledge the fact that her character design changes on a regular basis depending on what character she plays. Cool Chan is more sharp chin. The Emoto's obviously going to be more rounded. Her eyes kind of change shape or whatever, depending on the character. But it's like everything outside of that, especially like Eiji and her, when they're not doing characters, it just like the art style's all over the place. And I don't think I'll ever get over that. It's very distracting for me. I acknowledge that a lot of people are not going to even notice. And hopefully me pointing it out and Chris pointing it out doesn't ruin it for you. But yeah, my early thoughts on this, I do like the concept here. I think I agree with you. I do like the idea of sort of the pseudo harem, the idea that she is creating the harem for him and she reacts in different ways to create those characters. And obviously having Sayori Hayami doing the role as her seiyuu is perfect because she's done a lot of these characters. Most people know her by Your Forger. She's an excellent seiyuu, and she just nails the characters. And my heart kind of breaks for her in the idea of almost that sense of the unrequited love because it's her own fault kind of situation. Like, she literally will not commit to it, and she badly wants it, but at the same time, she never really kind of follows through. She always kind of, again, she backs off and she says, oh, it's this character. I think the thing that kind of makes it to where I just don't have any excitement to go watch another episode, even though I watched, like, I don't know, like 3 episodes or 4 episodes. I have no desire to keep watching it because it just doesn't feel like it's doing enough with the concept. It has a cool concept. It's a very clever concept, but like I argue, I almost feel like it is a first volume syndrome. The idea that this creator had this cool idea, that the editor, the publisher's like, yeah, that sounds great. And then they make that first volume and then they're like, now what? It almost feels like they just had no plan really set up and any cleverness to do with the concept going forward besides going, okay, I need to pace out the different archetypes because I need to make it fresh. And how can I make it fresh the next chapter? I'll add a yandere character. Yeah, that'll be the next volume. And then after that volume's over, people get sick of that formula. What am I going to do for the next volume? I don't know. Let's do the old senpai, or we'll do the mom character. We'll do the grown up lady character or something like that. I don't know. It's just like, it feels like its only way of really refreshing it is just to add another character archetype and not really change up the moment to moment. Now, there is like these little things that are kind of being thrown in here or there about like their stuff with the drama club and stuff like that, but it's not really, it's very surface level. It's mostly just these different separate skits where they meet here or they meet here, and then they'll do something. She'll respond to it with one of the archetypes. He'll go, oh my gosh, it's that archetype? Yeah, it's that archetype. That's the joke. That's the skit. Is literally her responding with one of the archetypes or multiple archetypes. He freaks out about seeing the archetype again, and then cut to the next scene.
Well, and that's the silly thing is, depending on the situation, like, I thought that the letters were absolutely adorable. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But I agree with you. It's like,
that was the one that you're not supposed to read.
Yeah, that was
again,
the one that
never commits. She never commits. She had that one in there that was committing, and she didn't want to commit.
But how far can you carry this? This is where I have to agree with Andrew. Yeah. It's like the concept is cute. I love it. After a certain point, it'll probably start to get stale. But where are you going to go after that? I mean, yeah, I guess adding a yandere-chan would be interesting, but that you can only carry that so far. I mean, suddenly
some girl shows up that has interest in Eiji, and then she takes note of it, and then suddenly the next day the girl doesn't show up at school, and then suddenly she goes, I have a new character I want to show you. What's that character? Yandere-chan. And it's like suddenly out of nowhere she lifts up her hand, it's covered in blood. She just took her out. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, yeah, I think the letter one was cute. But again, it's really hard to kind of remember any of them that were like, oh, that was good. The other problem that I kind of have is that I don't like Eji's Seiyu. It's Bakugo. He's too loud. He's such a contrast to her though, because she has such a beautiful voice, and then he's just the yelling guy. He's the Seiyu that yells a lot. He's the Bakugo character. He just screams all the time. He's not that bad. He's not like to the levels of
he's not
the guy
from he's not his
Demon Slayer
character.
or anything like that, but he's pretty darn close, you gotta admit. I like how our level of too much for Seiyu is the guy from Demon Slayer.
Yes.
That I care not to remember his name.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing the Bakugo kind of character right now, so
he just yells, oh, it's the Coltrane! Oh, it's this one. Oh, it's this one. Yes, you called it.
Yeah, it'll probably stand out to me and it'll get annoying.
Because I pointed out, now you're going to hear nothing but Bakugo whenever you watch it.
I'm going to shut it down.
You're just going to wait for him to just blast his hands out or something.
Just so y'all know, and if I don't review this,
I do this
Andrew's
for a lot of shows
fault.
for you. I'm just going to point
Andrew's
things out.
fault.
Most of the time, Chris deflects when I point things out. It's usually like an animation issue or something like that. But then every now and then, I'll point something out, and it's like, damn it, Andrew. You ruined it. You ruined it. Yeah, that's Pseudo Harem. Anything else on that one? It's cute.
It is.
It is a very cute show, though. Dungeon People. Dungeon People. Our first High Dive show, question mark? I think it's a High Dive. Yeah, it's a High Dive show. Dungeon People.
It's right below you. It's right.
It's not going to stop me from typing it. It's already done. It's committed. It's committed, Chris. You got to go with it, committed. Dungeon People, or Dungeon no Naka no Hito. This one, again, streaming on High Dive, running for 12 episodes, done by OLM, based on a manga, adventure, comedy, fantasy. The creator is Sui Futami, who did Maho Shoujo Nante Moi Desukara, which is I'm sick of being a magic girl, whatever. Really good show, by the way. It's for certain people, though. It's just a goofy comedy about a girl that gets transformed into a bathing suit. She hates it. Anyways, Clay is our main character. She's a thief. She was raised to be a thief and be like the hardest fighter ever because her father put her through like the worst grueling training. Don't trust anybody else. People in dungeons are dangerous. Keep your distance. Never let your guard down. Day and night training her in physical combat and everything. Until eventually one day, she starts to adventure and then her father disappears. And she goes to the dungeon where her father disappeared at and starts to go down the dungeon. And the further she goes down there, she goes to like the 7th floor. She gets past the 7th floor is where everybody gets to. I think she gets to the 9th floor. But she gets way down the dungeon, further than anybody else has. And she's fighting a Minotaur. And the Minotaur chucks his axe. It hits the wall. And the wall caves into a bedroom. And then the Minotaur goes, crap. And she's like, wait, this dude's talking. Wait, don't attack anymore. You don't sense that, do you? And then suddenly she senses this like aura coming from the door of the bedroom on the other side of this broken wall. And sure enough, this cute little girl opens the door, walks up to the Minotaur and says like, oh dear, this happened. You didn't talk to her, did you? I think you did, didn't you? He's like, yeah, I talked to her. Yeah, you should be very careful about that. You're usually very careful about that. And then kind of sends him on his way. And then she asks Clay to follow her as they go into the bedroom, into the hallway on the other side, all the way to this break room. Yeah, it's where she basically reveals that this whole dungeon is just it's basically a company. She's the administrator. She basically brings, she hires demons from the demon world. Typically, a lot of these labyrinths, the monsters will grow from the labyrinth. Whereas this is a particular labyrinth where she has to employ demons from another world. And she wants Clay to join the company, basically, to help her manage the dungeon. And Clay's like, not really sure I want to do that. But then she started remembering the fact that her father came down there. And so she goes, okay, I will join you if you win a duel. But if I win the duel, I'm going to leave, whatever. So Belle's like, okay, I don't really want to fight you, but sure. It takes her down to the 10th floor where it's like this really weird open space. They fight each other. The entire time, this administrator Belle is just kind of deflecting all of her attacks with her staff until eventually she kind of lets herself go and summons this massive lightning spell that Clay can't dodge because it's like, what was it, 100 lightning spell or something like that, or 1,000?
Something like that, yeah.
Like, way massive OP. And then Clay's like, yeah, this is probably why my dad would have lost if he got this far. And wakes up, starts to work there. So what kind of follows this is that she learns the ins and outs of the dungeon. The one key system is that, yeah, whenever they kill monsters in the labyrinth, they drop these crystals, and the crystals they sell for a lot. So a lot of the dungeon crawlers will make a lot of their money from selling the crystals from the monsters. Well, these crystals are actually like a system that they have within the labyrinth, where what they do is they have this big old chock supply of these crystals. The monsters will come in there that she hires. They will cast a spell on them that will take their body, their actual self, put it into the crystal, and then embed it into a copy of themselves. So that when you kill the monster, you're killing their copy, then their body gets transported from the crystal to the safe zone, and the crystal drops because it's been expended. And that's what the people have been basically selling, is this crystal that causes them to save their lives. So she does that for Clay, so that Clay doesn't lose her life to the monsters in the 10th floor, and she helps her out with different things like cleaning up and filling up chests, and what was the other thing they did? She at some point Clay feels like she's getting like rusty, so she wants to go fight some of the adventurers. So they put her crystal into one of the skeletons this one lich has, and then she's able to embody the skeleton, and they fight some adventurers, like I think on the 7th floor or something like that. So the adventurers are confronted by a lich and a couple of these skeletons, and suddenly out of nowhere, one of the skeletons is like super OP. And they're like, "What the hell is going on?" they cast this massive spell, and she literally just cuts the whole thing in half, and everybody's like, "Retreat." retreat. Why the hell is this one little skeleton super powerful? So that was fun. So, your thoughts on Dungeon People so far?
Well, I've only watched the first episode, so of what I watched, I really did enjoy it. I very much plan on getting back to this to catch up on it. I wanted to catch a couple of the other shows that Andrew was talking about us watching. So, but yeah, what I did watch of this, I did like it. I like the artwork. I like its soft watercolor tones.
I do really like the style of it.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely just an inviting type show. So yeah, I so far what I've watched, enjoyed it.
Reminds me of Guru Guru.
Yeah,
Not as chibi as Guru Guru, but it's got a chibiness to a Guru Guru that has.
the
Unique.
I think that probably my standout in at least the first episode for sure was easily the Minotaur just going wait. That's just wait, okay.
That wasn't supposed to happen. Crap. The boss is coming. She's so sweet, though. Belle's so sweet. It's like, why are these people afraid of her? Obviously, because she's massively overpowered. She has this, like, deadly aura, but she's, like, the cutest thing that just wants a friend. She just so badly... She literally hired Clay because she wants a friend. She's just, like, super lonely. It's like... And she so badly wants Clay to treat her like a friend, but she's like, no, I can't do that with an employer. It's like, poor Belle. She just wants a friend. She's like... Her real name's like Belle Flower, something really long, but she's finally got her to say Belle at least, so that was cute. I will say, like, the first episode was an okay introduction. It was a solid introduction to the whole concept of the dungeon, everything like that. I think us coming when we first talked about this in the preview, it was like, this could be really good because yes, it could play off all the tropes, all the JRPG tropes that you get, how dungeon functions and everything like that. There's so much you can do with it. And so I was kind of like, it was one of those ones where I obviously was hesitant because I'm like, and yeah, it could be really crappy. Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of shows that we run into where it's about the JRPG tropes and they just don't do anything with them. I mean, Guda Guda was really good. That was a good example of, like, done very well. I don't know, what was the other one? Was it, am I thinking of the magical armor one? The bikini armor one? Bikini warriors one? Or something else was doing a lot of these little JRPG jokes, and it's like, yes, they go into people's random houses in the dungeon, in the village, and they break the vases. Okay, got that joke. Move on. Let's do something different. So there's a lot of cases where the JRPG jokes just don't work, and they don't do enough clever stuff with it. So I was hoping this one would. It's not. Unfortunately, it's not. I found the mechanics clever. Like I said, the hiring. They even get into details like, why are the hallways so lit up? Well, she got too many complaints from hirees that didn't have night vision, so she had to light up the whole hallways and stuff like that. It's like, okay, this is kind of dorky to get into the monsters can file complaints with the corporation, which is Belle. It's got a good setup, and the mechanics, like the whole crystal mechanic with the reviving and all that kind of stuff, it's well thought out in the world itself. But it's like, when you get into after that first episode, that's when it's like, you're not going to do anything with this, are you? Because again, it goes into filling up the chests and how she's very athletic and super fast, and she can hide from the guy that handles the golems. It's like, okay, I don't care. Again, going into just her wanting to beat up some of the adventurers to show how. I mean, that bit was kind of funny. Like, the lich was kind of cool. She's just hanging out with his lich, and he's talking about how there was this word about this adventure coming down here. So obviously it was Clay. And I think it's kind of sweet with Clay and Belle, their chemistry, at least Belle wanting to be her friend. But it's like, outside of that, it's like, these are not very good episodes. I mean, when I watched the first 2 episodes, I was going to do my video on it, and I was like, I just have nothing to talk about. This show literally just has nothing that I really find interesting. Which, again, is it's sad because, again, I think it looks good. It's got some good little animation points in the first episode, but it just doesn't have substance. Like, there's just nothing here for me to chew on. I'm not really enjoying it. The comedy is not really there. So, in the end, it's like just very, very surface level dungeon behind the scenes stuff, really, is all it is in the end. So, I don't know if I'll continue watching. I kind of do, but at the same time, I might give it one more episode. I think is probably what I'm going to end up doing. I was hoping maybe we can get into some of the stuff like they talked about how there's like different tasks they have to do. One of them is interviewing monsters to come into the dungeon. I thought that might be interesting. I'm still kind of puzzled as to why she's not bringing up her father, unless she's assuming her father's dead, because obviously she said my father could never take on this spell, so obviously he probably got down this far and died. So maybe she doesn't want to mention her father because she doesn't want to hear that he's dead. My assumption, because one indication that I have for my theory is that at some point Belle said that all of the strongest monsters hang out in the 9th floor, I think, as she said, and they come there to train, which doesn't make sense to me because nobody makes it down to the 9th floor. So why would they come there to train when literally no adventurers make it to the 9th floor, unless they're fighting each other and they're training each other? But that comes to my theory that I wonder if they're going to the 9th floor to train because that's where her father's at, and that her father's just hanging out on the 9th floor, just constantly training, because I don't think she's ever gone there yet. So my theory is that she's going to eventually go to that lower floor and she's going to run into her dad. Again, why she doesn't ask is the question mark. But again, my assumption is that she doesn't want to know the truth. So even though she literally came there to find out where her dad is, that's literally why she came there. So that's an oddity. We'll see. That's my thoughts, though. It's there. It's not bad, but at the same time, it's not really doing enough. Quality assurance in another word. Weirdo.
Well, there's your answer. I have no thoughts.
Weirdo. I thought you said you watched it.
I have no thoughts. It doesn't matter if I watched it or not. I don't have no thoughts.
Kono sekai wa fukanzen sugiru. And this one is running for 13 episodes. It's streaming on Crunchyroll, as according to Mal. And it is done by Studio Palette and 100 Studio. I don't think we've ever met 100 Studio before, but there you go. It's an adventure fantasy. And this one opens up following a girl named Nicola. And Nicola is this little slave girl in this one village. Like, all she does is just work all day, cooking things, moving things around, grabbing supplies, whatever.
Did they say she was a slave?
Yeah, because then eventually whenever he
like
said that he was going to
send
her back, she said that I would just go to being back in with them. Or no, that was the other girl. She said something to the effect that she was a slave girl, something like that. But yeah, everybody liked her.
I thought she was just a servant.
Just a servant, yeah. So, probably a servant. Slave is a very strong word, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, she's at a village. And at some point, there's these dragon things that start appearing out of nowhere, which are like normally supposed to be in this one region, but suddenly they are now encroaching upon their village. She gets saved by some guy that grabs her ankle and tells her not to move. That was in a bush. And then he emerges from the bush, and it's this guy named Haga. And Haga is one of these people known as a seeker. And seekers are people that are like deemed or are appointed by the king to check out different regions and abnormalities happening with monsters. And his whole task is to see what's going on and then write up a report. And then he sends the report with this magical tablet back to where it's supposed to go. Eventually, one of these dragons ends up actually coming to the village. He ends up warning Nicola, go get everybody, take them up to the highest point, this highest mountain as you can. The dragon's coming. And as she's getting everybody evacuated, he goes over there to fight the dragon, which entails him with his massive supply of barrels that are explosives and arrows. I think he implies that he put it in a loop. He kicks the barrel off the side. The barrel explodes in front of the monster. He shoots one arrow. Then he kicks another barrel off the side. It blows up under the monster, and then he shoots an arrow. And he just keeps doing this process over and over again. Again, it kind of implies that he got the monster stuck in a loop. And eventually, he starts running out of supply, and then everybody else, after kind of mocking him, and Nikolai going, she's literally trying to save us, why are you mocking him? Everybody comes down there with their supplies, and everybody works together to kill the dragon. But then, after everybody's celebrating, we killed the dragon, everybody's safe, yay, 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 everybody's celebrating, Nicola goes over to Haga and says, hey, I want to become an adventurer like you. I want to become a seeker too. Can you be my master? Can I be your shisho? And suddenly out of nowhere, everybody starts catching on fire. And Nicola in front of Haga just is engulfed by flames, and she collapses over, and he starts apologizing. You're not supposed to survive the dragon attack. This is all apparently was a massive quest that he was going through, and never has the dragon can't be defeated. The village has to be burnt. So it's like a predestination thing here. And then, yeah, that's when we get the big reveal that Haga is actually a bug tester. That this company was making this big, massively multiplayer online game, and they sent all these individuals into the game, these beta testers, to test for bugs. And Haga is one of them. But very quickly they discover that they cannot log out. And we get over a period of a couple episodes, we'll get the sense that there's multiple companies that were doing bug testing for the project. The group that was with Haga, they all kind of came to agreement. Some of them wanted to just mess around with the admin, the debug mode. The debug mode where it lets them fly around and do whatever they want, go through walls and stuff like that.
That was a different company that did that.
Their members did too. There was several members that were messing with the debug mode and they got stuck. And that basically told Haga and their leader, the guy that seems like he's the leader of the group, don't mess with the debug mode. The leader of the group, of Haga's group, decided the way to get out of the dungeon or the game, maybe to complete the game. So he leaves to go complete the game. Haga stays behind to figure out a way to free his friends that are stuck in the debug mode. One of them is like stuck at this one acid pit where she's just in invincibility mode, so she's just repeating dying and reviving above the pit. This other guy is literally stuck in the ground. But yeah, and Haga decided that he was just going to repeat the process of finding bugs while he was trying to figure out a way of fixing them. And that's when he was doing the repeated quest for this village that Nicola was at. Well, anyways, after kind of that whole situation happens, Nicola shows back up out of nowhere. She just shows back up at his tent, and he's like, wait, you're supposed to be dead. Why are you here? He just figures that she's a bug. So Nicola, this villager that's supposed to die, she's now with him and not back at the village that will eventually repopulate. And so he figures that Nicola has become a bug somehow. So he starts to take her with him. And when she's with him, he's basically just testing out bugs, like going to this one wall. They literally arrive at the village. He's like, okay, let's find an inn. He's like, hold on a second. And just starts slamming into the wall all the way down this keep going, I'm looking for holes in the wall, basically testing to see if people can find places in a wall where you can clip through. And so he's just testing that over and over again. He'll write up a report and he'll put it on this tablet. All these bug testers have a tablet, these players that are bug testers. And the tablet sends that information to their debug system in the game. So the admins can see these bugs. He believes that if we send enough bug reports, it'll fix the game, and then they'll let us get out of the game. Whereas, again, there you have some other people that are just going crazy with their debug mode and powers. Again, his friend is trying to beat the game in order to get them out of the game. And again, he's traveling with Nicola. He ends up running into some other debuggers. They're trying to make a group that will essentially just do what the hell they want to do. Just mess with the game, break the game. One guy is literally just making a bed out of nude NPCs. This guy over here is literally making human darts out of the NPCs and throwing them at a dartboard. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And again, Haga kind of believes that this is the way that he's going to fix it, is just to debug the system. Yeah, that's basically the setup so far. Oh yeah, by the way, at some point, Nicola is revealed. This Nicola is revealed to be an AI, and the AI system is the system of the game itself, and it doesn't like that there's a lot of these debuggers that are running around breaking the game and destroying the game. So she wants Haga to find the individuals that are exploiting the debug system and take their tablets from them so they can't use their system anymore. And that's his task, which sort of technically breaks the story a little bit there. Because she took his tablets. He's like, why can't you do it? You're an AI of the system. I can't interfere with players. You just stole his tablet and all the other guys' tablets. What are you talking about? Unless she can't mess with people that have never accessed the debug mode, because it implies that he's never accessed the debug mode. He's too afraid of doing that because he'll get messed up like everybody else does. Yeah, he's constantly telling people don't mess with the debug mode. Thoughts?
All right, my thoughts.
That was quite a synopsis.
Quite a synopsis. I'm mixed on this show. I do like it in some respects. I think that when Andrew had mentioned it, I said that's such a weird show.
Well, synopsis doesn't really ever imply the idea of it being a game. I mean, the title implies it's a game.
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting for that moment of, he's got to be an isekai or something like that. I will admit the moment that it suddenly went, yeah, we're in a VR MMO. I'm like, that did kind of take the winds out of the sail of this poor girl literally surviving this system and it being predestination that she burned to death. But, it's fine.
That's the thing is like I like the concept before it revealed that it was a VR MMO.
Yeah, I would have probably liked it if it. I would have liked it better if he was working for this king, and they were looking for sort of glitches in the rules of the world, but it wasn't a game, and there'd be a concept of predestination that she has to die.
I would have probably even gone with it if it was a game that, not necessarily that he realized that he was a debugger. You know what I'm saying? I probably could have even gone with it then. Just kind of slowly revealing over time that, oh, hey, actually this is a game. And
like a Alicization version of Sword Art Online where you don't know your old self when you're in the game.
Exactly. At some point, it just slowly, as things start to unravel, you start to put all the pieces together. I probably could have even gone with that, but
yeah.
But it is what it is. As it is right now, while I like the concept and I like kind of the quirky nature of the storytelling, I'm not feeling the characters, I think, is really my main problem. They're just not working for me, but as a concept itself, I am kind of oddly intrigued by it. And I think I'm going to probably keep nosing at it. I'll see if I can keep up with it, but as it is, this will probably be one of my quicker drops.
I will say that I like the art style. This is kind of similar to Dungeon People. I kind of like the unique style of it. I don't know why. Nicola reminds me a lot of, and I'm going to bring up that again twice in one podcast, is Guda Guda. She kind of reminds me of the girl from that show. But no, I'm with you that I was intrigued by the show until they revealed that it was a VR MMO. And then at that point, I started getting kind of annoyed by the characters. Because it shifted from me going, okay, this is kind of intriguing, to, oh, it's just a trapped in a VR MMO game. Thus, everything that I just got emotional about is kind of out the door. I don't really care about really any of these characters at this point because they're technically NPCs. Now, it does get into that realm of liking a character or a NPC. It's kind of like the whole Log Horizon thing where suddenly you go, I kind of don't want the NPCs to get harmed here. It kind of shifted quickly to, okay, so it's a VR MMO game. I kind of lose the connection to the NPCs, but I kind of do want to like Nikolai or something like that. She's cute. They sort of do kind of make her into an oddity that's sort of being piloted every now and then by this AI, but she's still Nikolai or Nicola. Now, the thing that started bothering me is now that we've established it's a game, now we get into here's the other players, now they're PvPing, and there's stakes at hand. I mean, they haven't really kind of classified what happens if you die in the game when you're kind of trapped in it, but I would at least say that the idea of clipping through the ground is kind of terrifying since they've been there for, what was it, like a year or something like that at this point. But
well,
then
he seemed to act like he was in pain when he got stabbed, so...
Yeah, there's probably some sensories there or something like that, but it kind of quickly shifted into, okay, now I just kind of feel like Haga is just taking this way too damn seriously. He's like just fleeing from these dudes and how dangerous they are, and he's telling them you can't use a debug mode. And again, eventually it does explain why he's so adamant about not using the debug mode, and again, that's because his friends have been stuck in a state of perpetual death for, again, I think it was a year. And that's kind of terrifying. I mean, if I kind of explain that to somebody, it kind of does sound terrifying. You can technically get yourself stuck, and you're going to be stuck like my friends who've been stuck for, like, over a year. That kind of sucks. It kind of makes you wonder, like, what is this girl thinking for, like, it's like the whole, like, Dr. Stone thing. Like, how the hell do you not go nuts sitting there for that long? I mean, he counted, but how did everybody else stay sane? It's like, right. We never really established that. That would make somebody go insane sitting there for that long. Trapped in your own thoughts, just not able to move. But anyways, it kind of got cheesy in that whole segment. Again, I do like they eventually explain why he's so dead set on not using debug mode. But it's like, now that all that stuff is... I'm at the state now where I'm like, now that everything has been kind of revealed... now it's just hunt down PvPers. Like, I kind of, at this point, kind of wonder what is going to be the end game at this point, I guess, the question mark. I mean, what is the purpose here? Is he eventually going to maybe help his friend with beating the game? Is his friend going to randomly show up and say, I beat the game, but nothing happened? What is the conclusion that everybody kind of comes to is going to be the question mark there. So I don't know. I'm probably going to continue watching because I'm kind of intrigued to see at least what path it takes from here. But I will admit that I almost feel like everything has kind of been revealed at this point, and I don't really necessarily see. I don't see stakes. There's the key thing there. I don't feel like there's a threat here. And that's my problem. I don't feel that there is a significant purpose. I don't feel like I care for the conclusion. It's not like I really care that Haga's able to log out at some point. I don't feel a connection to him. I don't want to connect to Nicola because she's technically an NPC. I don't care about the AI because the AI is technically, presumably, part of the reason why they possibly are stuck there. I don't care for any of these bad guys that all want to throw NPCs at walls. What is there to care about is the biggest problem this show has right now. It's intriguing. The setup was pretty cool, but now I don't have that it at the moment. So there's my thoughts. We'll see though. Yeah, that was another one of the giveaways. The key art had that phone. It was a tablet. I thought it was a phone, but he had a tablet. The tablet was like a phone. But yeah, apparently an AI can't steal everybody's tablets, even though she steals all of his tablets. He had literally his and Sumida's tablet, and she just randomly steals them both. And then she says, I can't stop them because I can't interfere with players. And I'm like, you just literally stole 2 tablets from him and ate one. You can't steal and eat theirs? Because that's the tablet's their power. So if they don't have their tablet, they can't debug mode. So, anyways. That's quality assurance in another world. What's our next one here? Nobody's path to becoming an adventurer? A nobody's path or something like that? A nobody's way up to an exploratory adventurer. Is it just a scroll down, Chris? Oh, no, you can't see it. Exploratory. This one is Mobu Kara Hajimaru Tansaku Eiyutan. This one opens up with Kaito Takagi. Apparently at some point when he was like, I don't know, 5 or something like that. It was like 5 years ago or something like that. Some time ago when Kaito was young, suddenly dungeons started appearing across the world. Think something like Solo Leveling, where suddenly out of nowhere, all these dungeons start appearing and people start to go in the dungeon, exploring them. And at some point, he sees this one guy that ended up being, I think, his friend's father.
No, you're messing it all up. The dungeons appeared, then the dude and the girl, they went into the dungeon and they did these weird poses, and then dude tried to kill the monster, got hurt, and then she gave him a kiss with a potion in her mouth.
What show?
It was her Oni-chan. And she gave him a kiss, and everything went, and it was happy ever after.
I don't know what show that is.
That was this show.
No.
He told you what happened.
No.
Just because you weren't paying attention to the very important video that they showed that told how the dungeons came around.
That's propaganda.
It was a It was not a propaganda.
Stop feeding into propaganda, Chris. Fake news. Anyways, Kaito. Again, I think it was Haruka's father or something like that. Somebody was on television. He wanted to be a hero just like them, to grow up, get strong, and fight in the dungeons. Well, cut forward, and he's not strong. He's in like the level 1. He's killing slimes over and over again. He's using he has to buy like monster killing spray can bottles, and so he just sprays slimes to death. And he's killed 999 slimes at that point. Not really leveling up, not getting stronger. Doesn't have a party. And at some point, he ends up running into, was it a gold slime or a silver slime first? I think it was a silver, right? It was a gold. He runs into a gold slime, kills it after using like his super spray cans, and it drops a card, a summoning card. And at first he's like, man, this could probably be worth a lot of money. Do I sell it or do I use it to be able to go down to the lower dungeon points? Finds out that some cards with angelic summoning can like sell for millions, like crazy, like it sold for millions overseas or something like that. So he's contemplating it. He's like, I can get riches where I can buy equipment to be possible to go down lower. But then he remembers his dream of becoming a hero. So he's like, no, I'm going to summon this thing. I'm going to use it to get down lower in the dungeon. So he summons it, and it summons this big angelic being that, you know, smiles upon him. And then the light flashes, and he looks around and goes, wait, where to go? And he looks down, or he gets like this little kind of nudge, and then he looks down, and there's this little lolly Valkyrie, Sylphie. And Sylvie is like his new summon. He kind of like, man, that was a waste. This little girl's my summon. But yeah, she's actually really powerful. She can tell where the monsters are at in the dungeon. The unfortunate thing is that every time she kills something, she gets hungry, and then he has to feed her the gems that the monsters drop. So he's not making as much money anymore. But she is able to help him kind of get further down. He doesn't want to rely on her too much, so he's kind of doing his part as well. Eventually, they run into another slime. They kill that rare slime. He kills a slime, and it drops a devil summoning card. And he's like, yeah, this is what I wanted, to be able to summon both an angel and a demon. And it does the same thing. Big demonic-looking chick shows up, and then poof, it's a little lolly. Lucilia, and she's a little bit more, she's super tsundere. And she wants to eat all the time, takes all the gems. Sylphie gets all jealous about it, but he kind of figures out that he needs to give them both attention. At the same time, he's getting stronger, leveling up, getting spells. I love that. The orb that he gets, did you read the flavor text of it? Mm-mm. It was something like, I want to bring it up now. Anyways, yeah, he eventually gets an orb. It teaches him water ball or something like that. He goes further, and he ends up finding a secret dungeon. He ends up finding a secret dungeon area where he finds a boss. They work really hard to kill it. And he levels up a lot. Yeah, the whole while, every time he goes to school and he's outside the dungeon, he's going to school, he's trying to avoid his childhood friend Haruka from finding out that he's going in the dungeon, because she knows it's like dangerous, and he's doing it in secret because he has dreams of becoming a hero. So like literally 5 times an episode, he hides the fact that he's dungeon crawling to his childhood friend. Thoughts? While I find this flavor text that's hilarious.
So far this show I've actually really liked. Sylphie is absolutely adorable. Yeah, I get a kick out of Haruka and Kaito's kind of weird interplay between the two of them.
Really?
Yeah, I get a kick out of it. I think
so
it's adorable,
old, dude. It's like, again, like 5 times an episode. Oh man, I can't wait to go to the dungeon. To dancing again. I'm going to go do some dancing. It's like, oh, stop. Hey, yeah, I'm really having trouble with my party members. What? You're what? Oh, I have a friend who has these 2 friends that he had trouble with. It's like, it's so old. Just reveal that she's actually like in a major party and she's super OP already.
She needs to hurry up.
I'm surprised it's taken this long to reveal that she's actually in a party.
But as it is right now, I'm really enjoying it. I like I said, I really do like the Sylphie and Lucille. It works. I really do enjoy it. I didn't think I was gonna like it at first. Truth be told, the
beginning kind of sucked.
Yeah, the beginning really did suck. But
my spray cans, yeah, I'm super weak.
Yeah.
And then she shows up, and now suddenly it's like, oh, cute lolly. I like show now. She's so cute.
It's all it is. That's all I needed.
Man, I can't rely on her too much. I gotta do my part. Oh, now it's getting boring again. Oh, she went back and did something again. She's so cute. It's like the whole show for me is like, it's just the cute lollies.
Pretty much.
Is it wrong to summon lollies in a dungeon? Is my name for it. It's wrong to pick up lollies in a dungeon. Yeah, I think the other aspect of obviously is at some point because he's doing so well, he beat this secret boss. He actually does get invited into a party. So now he's actually going to have a party, and of course it's 3 cute girls. So that's great. So hopefully this whole next segment, what I'm assuming is going to happen next is that he's going to have to go in a party now, and he's going to have to rely on his own skill, which he has gotten better. I mean, he's got his nice little suit that he got, and he's got a water ball spell that he's now been able to modify into making crystal spears. So he's going to be useful, hopefully. But yeah, there's kind of this sense of like, okay, now he's with a party. Is he going to summon the lollies? So is now the next few episodes going to be literally nothing but him hanging out with 3 cute girls and no lollies? And then eventually everybody gets in a dire strait, and then suddenly he's like, crap, I can't do it anymore. I got to summon my lollies. And the lollies come up and they start beating everybody up. And they're like, oh, crap, you got these cool, cute lollies. And he's going to be like, please don't tell anybody. I don't know why he's keeping it a secret at this point, because he's already summoned them. And my assumption is that I guess the assumption here is that because he can't sell it. So what is he afraid about people knowing about it for now?
Right.
Because early on, yes, it was like the sense of that, yeah, technically you can run into somebody in these dungeons, and if the camera isn't on you, because they'll set up cameras as people go further down the dungeon, they got lights set up and everything. It's literally, they turn it into like a company thing. Yeah. Like even cleared dungeons, which is part of that propaganda Chris was talking about, the cleared dungeons, once they're cleared and cleaned out, they'll turn it into a park so that people can come down there and check out the park, the dungeon itself. But yeah, when he first got the cards, he was hiding it because he was afraid that somebody would notice it and steal it from him, because again, they're worth a lot of money. But his whole thing there was that, do I sell it or do I use it? Because again, if he uses it, he can't sell it. So why is he still hiding it now that he's used them? That's a question mark. So I don't get that. So I'm assuming when he's partying with those 3, he's probably going to be still, again, hiding it. And again, don't know why. So maybe I missed something. Here's the flavor text. It says, the flavor text of this orb that he found says the spiritual strength is in port. Let's deal calmly at any time. Dungeon. I think it's supposed to be search. The spiritual strength is important. Let's deal calmly at any time. Dungeon search. I manufacture a map while searching. Sorry, it's word wrapping. While searching treasure. What does that imply to you that is for? I manufacture a map while searching treasure. I would assume it's probably going to be like a map that populates as he walks around and searches things.
But what is deal calmly?
I don't know the first part. It says dungeon search, so my assumption early on was that it says the spiritual strength is important. Let's deal calmly at any time. Dungeon search. So again, it implies this idea of searching a dungeon, and I manufacture a map. So again, I can assume that it populates a map to help you search the dungeon. He takes the orb and he breaks it, and it teaches him water orb, a water spell. It's like, because I got to this part, I stopped the show, and I was reading that, and I was like, okay, that's some weird, oddly structured English, but whatever, I get the gist. It's for a map. He breaks it, learns a water spell. I'm like, that's not what the flavor text said. I think it had a flavor text earlier in the show on something, so I want to go back and see if maybe they're just copy pasting the same thing here. But he never got an ability to have a map, so I think the cards had flavor text. I want to go. I think
the cards had flavor text. I know that his no, the cards had flavor text. His
this is in English. The flavor text is English.
Yeah, his menu was something else.
Yeah. Anyways, my thoughts on the show. I think it's cute. I like the lollies. They're super cute. The studio sucks at animating a lot of the show, but when the cute lollies are on the screen, they're still keeping them good on model. So they obviously know what the selling point of the show is, the cute lollies. So they're going to keep at least them on model. I like the idea behind it, because what happens is, of course, he has Sylphie, and he's running around doing stuff with Sylphie. And again, he doesn't want to rely on her too much, but she is kind of OP, but she has to get fed the gems. So there's like this whole kind of balancing act that he's doing, that he wants to get stronger. He can't rely on her, but yet he can't kill things on his own. So she has to kill it for him, but he's not making any money because she has to eat all the crystals. And it kind of turns this cute little thing where he's constantly having to, for Sylphie, he was always having to feed her the gems. And then the Celia shows up, and then she's like, she wants crystals all the time, so she's just eating them all up. And then, like, the first one he gave her, she just, like, pops in her mouth. Like, he just hands it to her, and she pops it in her mouth. And then later on, to kill another one, and he feeds it to her, and suddenly it's like, it tastes better. I think it was supposed to be a better gem, but it was, like, one of those funny things, like, is it taste better when he hands it to their mouth or something like that? It's like he has to feed his lollies, otherwise they're not happy. the ED implies they're going to have their bigger forms at some point. I'm probably going to assume like later on in the series, as they evolve, they'll be more stronger, but maybe it takes more gems to feed their grown up forms. But it's a cute concept. It's just him kind of, helping them out. At some point, and they haven't really dealt with this ever again once they brought it up, which is kind of funny. At some point when Kaito leveled up to 10, I think, he got a special title or skill or something like that, which was like the favor of the goddess or something like that. And what it does is based on his relation, or based on how much an angelic being loves him or cares for him or has a deeper kinship with or whatever, relationship with, he will get a boost in stats when he levels. So he immediately turns to Sylphie and goes, "Oh, goddess, thank you so much." And she's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, Kaito-sama or Master Kojichi-sama?" And he's like, I really care about you. Thank you so much for all your help." And then later on, he literally says, "I want to be close to you like you're my sister." And she's like, "Oh, that's great. Can I call you Sylph instead?" And she's like, "Oh, that's great. Yeah, sure." She has no clue why he's being like super nice to her out of nowhere. But it's like this idea that he wants to like increase the, her like of him so that he gets a stat boost. Never brings it up again. Did he ever get a stat for Lucilia? I don't think
I don't know. I'm
yet.
assuming that they're going to do that.
Eventually, yeah. Mm-hmm. Which that's going to be tough because she's tsundere, Baka. Like, he gets blasted and she's like, "Don't scare us like that." And he's like, "Oh, were you concerned for me?" And she's like, "No, I wasn't, Baka." It's like, oh my gosh, look at this little cute little demon girl like tsundere. They're cute. Sylphie and Lucilia is literally the only reason I'm really enjoying the show. They're super cute. They're super massively OP, and he's just kind of there squawking and not trying to die the entire time and feeding them gems every now and then. I do like the world setup so far. It is kind of interesting, kind of creating a very business setup for a dungeon, having to crawl a dungeon, make money. Again, it's very similar to something like Solo Leveling, where you're building up in there and you're selling your goods in the real world. The real world, it has accepted the dungeons exist. There's monsters down there. It's very corporatized and everything like that. I'll be very curious how they handle, again, the other parties and grouping up with other people, because that's something he's wanted to do for a while. He's never had a party. So it'll be cool to kind of... He had a party, it was his friends. And his friends went down there at some point, and they got beat up by a goblin, so they never wanted to go back. So he's been kind of solo the whole time, so... It'll be interesting what they kind of do from this point on, but at the same time, I do admit that, like... A good chunk of the show is just mostly just I shoot stuff. Did it work or not? Okay, Sylphie blocked me this time. Okay, Lucilia does a super blast. He feeds them. Next monster. Oh, I got this new equipment. I'm going to shoot a crossbow now. Oh, crap. It didn't really do that much damage, but Sylphie blasted it with her attack. It just kind of gets repetitive. The moment-to-moment dungeon crawling is just very blah. I guess the main thing is to say there. And again, everything outside of the cute lollies is kind of poorly animated, so... I don't know. It's very middle area for me currently. I'll probably keep watching it because cute lollies. They're cute lollies.
Yeah, right.
Just cute lollies. There you go. If you like cute lollies, watch the show. If you don't like cute lollies, don't watch the show. There you go. It's an easy one way or the other for you guys. It's a clear cut if you're gonna enjoy the show or not.
Well, that's pretty much this one and the Adventuring Twins or whatever they are.
The Adventuring Twins?
Yeah, the
Wonder Twins?
Raising your twins in the adventure world.
In the adventure world, raising your kids in an adventuring world. Let's do Wistoria next, maybe. You've watched quite a bit of Wistoria.
Mm-hmm.
Wistoria, Weston Oria. I actually have an outline for that one because I covered it. I only make outlines when I make a video on it. I hadn't made one for quality assurance yet. Wistoria, Wand and Sword, or Sue to Tsurugi no Wistoria. This one's streaming on Crunchyroll. Studio Actus is working on it with Bandai Namco Pictures. It's based on a manga, action, adventure, fantasy, and of course this is by the creator, Fujino Omori, who of course is known for creating that one... It's a very niche... I mean, not many people know about it. It's Danmachi or something like that. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
What is that one about?
I think it was that one that was about that dating sim game that turns to a death game, and then that at some point they end up on a spaceship that goes to Mars, and it gets weird.
Wasn't there a girl with the
weird.
with the boob ribbon?
No, that's a different show.
Oh,
That's a completely different show. Hestia or something like that.
Yeah.
Hestia's Bestia or something like that.
yeah.
I keep hearing people say that.
And you don't think that was?
I don't
that
think
show?
that was Danmachi, no.
Huh.
It's a different show. This
Well,
one
then
had
I
Belle
don't know.
in it.
I don't. I've never heard
Danmachi
of
had Belle in it, but I don't remember a Hestia. Esterial? I don't know. Anyways, that's a joke. This show is basically Mashal. Sort of. It opens up with a guy named Will Surford.
This is Mashal.
Huh?
Yeah, I could go with that.
I mean, it's a guy without magic in a world that's powered by magic, and he brute forces everything with physical. Anyways, yeah, it's not a comedy though. That's the problem. It's not Mashal because this isn't a comedy. It's a fantasy, pure fantasy show. But anyway, so it opens up with Will Surford. And yes, he's in a world that pretty much is run by magic. Everybody believes that everything is all about magic. Your point in life is all about magic. They do talk about in the past there was this story, or at least in the past, at some point, everything was covered in darkness. The mankind was being basically taken down and subjugated by the Celestial or something like that. And then at some point, 5 mages showed up out of nowhere, and they fought back, and they created a seal in the sky that trapped away that and brought light upon the world again, and everybody rejoiced. They were saved by the 5 mages. Well, cut forward, and now essentially those 5 mages were in this tower, the top of this tower, and I forget what they call them, magia somethings. It's like the status of a
Vendors.
Huh?
Magia vendors. Or
Yeah, magia vendor. That sounds right. Is the status of magia where if you essentially complete one of these like 3 tasks and gain all these credits, you can achieve becoming a magia and ascend the tower and be with all the other magias. It's like the biggest status ever of being a mage. And Will, when he was very young, he heard this story along with his friend Elfaria, and they made a promise together that they were going to both become magias. And so they joined this academy, and immediately, very quickly, she became the youngest magia ever. His friend is already magia and leaves him behind. And he gets left behind because he has no aptitude for magic. Like, he literally cannot use magic. But so he's basically trying to do whatever he can to ascend the tower to be with her, but he has to do anything but magic. And again, there's like multiple routes to achieving this. You can gain all these credits. You can conquer the tower itself, or what was the? There was one other. Create magic. If you create a new spell, it is implied that only a select few people can achieve it by creating a new spell. But yeah, you can either ascend the tower or get the credits. Now, the credits is the part he's going for, but he has a difficulty here because the way to achieve credits is to book smarts, application of spells, and killing monsters in a dungeon. He can do 2 of those. He can't do that last one, and it's typically you have to do all 3 of them to get enough credits to make it up there. So he has to double time, which he's doing by just killing monsters in a dungeon. So he just, whenever free time he has, he goes in the dungeon, kills monsters, brings back the parts to this guy that's kind of helping out, Workner, and Workner is cashing him out for credits. Now, the reason why he's still around, because they said at some point, once his friend, ascended, they were kind of wondering why he was even there. Like, the only reason that he was there with her is because they were kind of a package deal. Like, all the rumors say that they were a package deal, but once she ascended, they're wondering why the academy's keeping him around. We find out very quickly is that, yeah, the headmaster of the school wants to keep Will around because he's very, very skilled. He has the ability to literally, like, deflect spells, cut through barriers, which is just kind of unheard of. He has the capability of actually taking down a spellcaster, which is very intriguing to her. So they're kind of letting him do that. But, yeah, eventually one of the teachers he's pretty much one of these magias. He failed at the top of the tower or something like that. The headmaster said basically, hey, if you want to put him through a challenge and he fails that challenge, you can kick him out. So sure enough, he goes and challenges Will to a duel. Will ends up getting his sword was in the locker at the time, but when he got his sword back, he basically cut through this teacher's barrier and cut his face, allowing him to pass the test. Because he said, if you hit one blow on me, I'll let you pass, but if you don't, you're going to get expelled. And he managed to land that one blow, and the teacher respected that and let it be. I do like the fact they did kind of parallel that with the story of the dwarves, that sometime in the past, the mages were so powerful, they subjugated the dwarves, and the dwarves, with an army of what was like 10,000, rised up against the mages, and they lost. And at some point, this teacher revealed, and you know the full story, right? Who took down the dwarves? One mage. But what Will knew and what intrigued him was that one dwarf did land a blow, and the mage respected that and let him live and allowed them to have some rights. And so it was like this whole thing about like paralleling with Will and the idea that he struck Edward, this teacher, with one blow. So it's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah, we have the poor girl that thinks that she's going to be Will's girlfriend, Colette, who supports him all the time. Little does she know, Will is constantly looking up at the tower because his girlfriend, who's up there, is always waiting for him. They imply the idea that this is the story of Wistoria, which is the wand and the sword, which is Will is the sword, and the wand is the girlfriend in the tower that he's trying to get to. But yeah, that's the concept so far. What's your thoughts on I don't know magic, so the school bullies me until I save their lives in the dungeon? Because he saved some dude that's a bully in the dungeon.
Yes.
And he's super tsundere. He saved his life. And he's like, it's unheard of. Buck, I don't like you. I was like, here we go. I got to save him. I did like that. That was kind of funny in the first episode. What happens in the first episode of Damachi? Belle goes in the dungeon. Some random Taurus, just not even supposed to be on this level, shows up. And he's super OP. And Belle's about to die. And then Eis Wallenstein shows up and saves his life. What happens in the first episode of this show? The bully guy goes down there to steal Will's kill, and then randomly some crazy Taurus-looking beast thing shows up. Minotaur-looking beast shows up out of nowhere, not supposed to be on that floor, and Will saves him. So at least they spun that part. Will, rather than Belle, saves the other person.
Well, I was gonna
So
play.
is Sion going to fall in love with Will then?
Probably.
Well, Belle didn't fall in love with
he's already got like 4 people that are going to be in love with him at this point.
The headmaster likes him. Elfaria likes him. Borkner likes him.
If you're going to add them
Colette
to the harem,
likes him. Sion obviously now at this point likes him. Kiki always liked him. What the hell Kiki is? I don't know. Kiki's just like a random cat that's there.
we've got the lady,
and then
who's
Edward.
We got the lady
now likes
who's reporting to the council of Vanders or whatever. They've got her. She's kind of intrigued by him. We got his roommate who's like totally BLing for him. And then we got,
I haven't
of course,
met the roommate yet.
The roommate was the one that was doing the little Amraisu thing.
Oh yeah, I seen him at the end of
Yeah.
at the end of the episode. Yeah.
So you didn't see the next episode?
No.
I thought you seen that.
I've seen up to the point where he was in the roasty guy was in the window and waiting for him to come home.
Oh, so,
I see him
you
beat
haven't seen
Edward.
you haven't seen the Vander Council episode.
No, I'm assuming it's probably Kiki, right?
No.
I figured Kiki was like sent by them to keep an eye on him. I assumed Kiki was sent by
Zoom
Alfaria
the
to
screen
keep
up
on
a
him.
little bit.
Oh, sorry.
That guy, the Rusty.
I just said that like 2 minutes
Oh,
ago.
okay, I didn't.
I said, yeah, I seen the rusty guy that was in the window, waiting for him to come home. Gotta feed him, keep him strong. Probably juicing him up. He's feeding him roids.
So I was gonna play on the whole Mashal thing. If this is Mashal, this is like Mashal done right.
Mashal, but actually entertaining.
I actually really like this. I mean, this show. I mean, let me get it out of the way. I was so freaking overhyped watching that daggum battle in the first episode. The third episode has a really amazing fight scene as well that I really liked. This show just really has action scenes just nailed to the wall. characters and story, I think that it's doing really well with the whole underdog thing, giving him his own way of doing what he wants to do. Not really feeling a lot of the characters though. I want to love on this show for its characters, but I'm just not getting it. World-wise, very intriguing world. So overall, I'm very warm on the show. Not necessarily overboard, but it just looks so freaking good. So I'm going to watch it anyway because it is an amazing show.
Yeah, visually it's crazy, and like I kind of joke with Chris, and I did it in my video as well. It's like one of those cases where I'm like, I hate to say it, but it's like it's got too much animation. Like there's, and I think I kind of came to the conclusion it's not so much that it's too much animation, because I think that's kind of foolish to say, but I think it's just there is sometimes where it feels like there's too much exaggeration and movement. Like a good example is when he's the first time he's in the room with Wagner. And obviously Werkner's mad at him because he went into the dungeon without telling him or anything like that. And that is obviously telling that you can't make it the way that you're wanting to make it. You're not going to be able to achieve it by these credits alone. And it looked like it had way too much animation and wheel as he's sitting there like panicking and stuff like that. And it's like it looks like he's just moving this way or that way too much, and it looks kind of awkward. But yeah, it visually looks really, really good. I don't like Will's character design. I think he looks stupid. I hate the whole, like, massive Ahage on his head. It looks like a massive question mark. The rest of the designs look good. I think all the characters look kind of unique in their own way, and they look solid. But yeah, outside of the visuals, which are fantastic, this is literally a season of way too many shows that look way too good. Kind of makes me concerned for the for the state of the anime industry. If like suddenly out of nowhere, like a ton of studios are doing some crazy good stuff. It kind of makes me feel like next season's going to be Garbo or something. But yeah, visually it looks good.
Everybody takes a vacation after this.
yeah. Next season just nothing but Garbo. Like it's just nothing but Studio Dean shows. But yeah, outside of that, I agree with Chris. I do like the world building part, which again is kind of par for the course for Danmachi creator. I do always like sort of the mechanics in the world itself, which makes me kind of hope that Omori is more involved with this one. Like Danmachi, they weren't until like this recent season, because I'm afraid they're going to do the same thing that they did with Danmachi, where they get away from all these mechanics in the world building and just kind of focus on just telling a quick story. But I have hope for it. I have hope that they'll still keep that concept there. I do like the concept, even though it does share a lot of similarities to Danmachi, with like the Magia basically being like the goddesses looking down upon the people, and him trying to seek out his goddess, which is Hestia up there in the tower, trying to get stronger for her. And you have all the girls around him that want him, but he doesn't pay any attention at all whatsoever to, like Colette. I mean, he gives some credit to Colette. She kind of helped him out. And, but yeah, the concept here in the world itself and everything, and I'm assuming that all the mages that go up to the top of the tower are there to sustain the seal, because they do show this big, massive, like, magic circle that's up in the sky, which I'm assuming is the thing they created in order to seal the sky itself. I didn't mention it, but the promise they made each other is that they get to the top of the tower, because there was rumor that if you get to the top of the tower, you can see past the seal and be able to see the sunset, because beyond the seal is the actual sky, which has a sun, and you can watch the sunset or rise or whatever. And so they wanted to do that together. So all that stuff's interesting. The world itself and everything's interesting. I'm already sick of it, and I was going to be sick of it really quickly the moment I seen it, but I'm already sick of the whole, like, he's bullied because he has no magic ability, and so it's constantly this bully thing, and he's got to prove himself to every single person. Hopefully, now that he's proven himself to want to be Waver here, hopefully we can kind of move on from that, but probably not. It's probably going to be the shtick for most of the time, but it's got a good world system, the academy and everything. Huh?
Let him be Waver.
Looks like Waver. He's in the mage tower. He's Waver. He's a grumpy mage, just like Waver. Lord Elmelwoy, not Waver. Anyways, so like the moment to moment and character interactions and stuff like that, I'm kind of mixed on. So I'm hoping a lot of that stuff kind of gets out of the way to kind of more focus on the story. And yeah, I agree with Chris. Build the characters a little bit. Like, I think we're probably spending too much time jumping around with the characters and just maybe focus on building up a little bit more. I have literally no care for Will. Like, he could fail and I wouldn't care. Like, I don't feel a connection to him emotionally whatsoever. He kind of feels kind of whiny. I think the worst, and it's kind of odd because I think with Danmachi, it kind of carried itself with some really good characters and personalities and moment to moment writing with the character interactions with the world building. This one's just doesn't have characters for me so far. I just don't really care for anybody. And that might be because they're introducing too many characters or what, but hopefully they can start kind of focusing on the characters and make me care for Will, besides the fact that he has no magic ability and he whines a lot and screams and gets stronger.
And there's like 4 girls that are wanting to
sleep with him,
follow him around like puppies.
Yeah. He doesn't just tell him, hey, I got some chick up in the tower, I'm not interested.
You're right.
So they can just kind of move on with their lives. They can all get with wannabe El Melmoy. I don't know, yeah, I think my difficulty struggle right now I have is just I don't care for the characters. And it kind of feels like a show that will be make or break on characters. Like, it's hard to really sell a show without a good, decent cast that you want to root for. So Killet's cool, I guess. The unrequited love. She's never gonna have him. Sorry, girl. She's never gonna have him. You're just like all of the girls besides Hestia in Danmachi, that none of them will have him because all he cares about is Hestia. Will never care about anybody but his new Hestia. But yeah, it looks good though. Visually it looks good. Action scenes are good. It doesn't seem like there really is many action scenes. That's a good point to make there too. I mean, I guess one fight is episode. Was there a fight in episode 4? Or was that 3? That'd be 3.
That was 3. It depends. I mean, you have that first. No, we've had a fight per episode.
Yeah. Okay.
Because we had one in the first one. We had one with the
technically 2 in the first episode
with the professor in the second one. And
yeah,
then and then the let's just say ice monster in the third.
And an ice monster. So there you go. That is Wistoria. The magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch enemies, or Katsute Maho Shoujo to Aku wa Taki Tai Shiteta. I'm actually thinking of making a video on this one. Since it's short, I kind of wanted to do a couple episodes. It's 12 minutes per episode? It's not super short, but I mean, with the OP and the ED.
Shorts?
Yeah.
I thought they were full episodes.
Chris is invested. It's like there's times where like a show is like a full, like there was a show here recently that I was watching and I'm like, was that a short? Because it felt like it went by so damn fast. It's like it's been a while since I've had a show where I'm like, wait, that's it? That's the episode? But yeah, Chris is so invested. He's like, time is slowing down. No, you're watching it at 0.5 speed, aren't you?
Maybe.
He's watching the show at 0.5 speed. That way it actually goes a full time. Anyways, this show is running for 12 episodes. Again, it's a 12-minute shorts per episode. It's a comedy, fantasy, romance done by Bones. Okay, that explains everything. I didn't know Bones was doing this. I just like, why does this show look so good? I'm watching this. I'm like, this is a short and it looks so freaking good. Why does this look so good? It's Bones. Answered my question. If I had known that, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyways, yeah, this one opens up in our modern times Japan, where there exists this evil organization that is trying to take over the world, and we quickly zero in on one of our baddies, one of the evil lieutenants of the
Andrew?
evil organization. What?
Do me a favor.
I'm building up here.
I know.
Ruined it.
But I in honor
Ruined
of this show, I think you should tell the entire synopsis in evil corporation tongue.
What is an evil corporation tongue?
You have to speak like the foot soldiers.
Oh, iki. Weren't they like monkeys?
Pretty much.
I still remember they were like kiki 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 something like that. That's the synopsis. But no, we follow our evil lieutenant who's trying to help the evil organization take over the world, and yeah, and then we have the appearance of the magical girl, who Byakuya, who just shows up transforms and blasts all the bad guys. Well, come to find out, the evil lieutenant just immediately, first sight, fell in love with her. And so every single time he shows up, he might summon something that she blasts, but most of the time he just kind of summons her somewhere and brings her cake. And they sit down and they eat cake together. And she just thinks that he's just so nice and kind-hearted and is just a good guy. And at the same time, he's just constantly going, what the hell am I doing? I'm supposed to be helping the organization. Am I a traitor? I'm a traitor against my organization because I'm helping them out. He's gathering information because their database has no information on this magical girl, Byakuya. And it just basically turns into him asking different stuff about her and gushing over her and then hiding that information so the organization doesn't have that information. He'll summon a massive slime that's attacking the city, and then come to find out, he looks at his cameras to find out how it's doing, the evil slime is doing, and come to find out Byakuya's like, she didn't sleep the night before, so she's super tired. She's just stuck in the middle of the slime being licked on by the tentacles of the slime, and he finds it so inappropriate, he immediately goes there and blasts the slime and saves her life. Yeah, all that kind of goofy stuff. And then some point they kind of reveal somebody else is going to show up, but yeah. Oh yeah, we have a QB. Let's just say
right.
Byakuya, when she was basically, it opens up with she was in an orphanage, right? And then they had like this lien holder of the place was like this, it was like this massive like loan scam, and as the place was gonna get shut down, this mascot creature shows up and says, "You really need money, don't you? Become a magical girl and you could do it." And what basically turned from that is, this is stuff that she's divulged to the evil lieutenant. Basically, she's working day and night with part-time jobs. She's like, he goes, "How many jobs you got?" And she's like, he's like, "How many jobs?" Like, she can't count. There's like so many, and there's some of them are part-time jobs, but or temporary jobs, but she's working like day and night constantly. She has no money for food, so she's constantly hungry, and it's all the stuff that this Cube's making her do. Like, he's literally setting her up with jobs constantly. Like, she finally goes home and you open the door and he's literally sitting there at the computer
night
setting
massages.
up another the business card for night massages. He's just constantly having her work, and he's handling her finances, so he has all the money, and then he's having her do these fight as the magical girl. So it's like, it's so bad. I mean, it's obvious where the direction the story is going to go. Is the evil lieutenant's got to kill this stupid mascot creature, but I feel so bad for this girl. It's so like. Anyways, I'm getting into my review. What's your thoughts?
I've really enjoyed the show. It's absolutely become one of my treats of the week. It's funny because she's technically bordering on the edge of Soulless Doll. She is sitting there.
She's just tired.
She is tired. It is really a lot of it. And I love the fact that he's absolutely doting on her, and she's just super kind of in this bordering on the edge of just wanting to acknowledge him and what he's doing, and pointing out that it's very sweet of him to do that, and very, very warm-hearted.
Yeah, she's very receptive of it, but it's like one of those things where you like wonder if she just doesn't get it because she's so used. Like, she's so like she's a like an abuse victim, essentially.
Right.
It's like there's a side of it that's kind of sad.
Exactly. I love it. I think it's brilliantly done. Like Andrew said, it looks fantastic. So yeah, I can't wait for it week to week, for sure. Really love it.
What was it? Who was there was something with the character design or something like that was the same. I forget what was the something that I found with it, but I'm super surprised how much I'm loving the show, and I kind of kicked myself. And now I was only like an episode. There was 2 episodes out when I first started, and I was like, it was one of those ones where I kept forgetting that it was actually the season. And I remember you brought up the fact that the magical transformation looked really good, but then I watched the episode and I'm like, the scene where they were at that park and she leans over the table and touches his forehead on hers to see if he was not sick or something like that, because he's just being all like doki doki and freaking out about the situation. But she leans over and it's got like that lighting from behind. It's going through her hair as it kind of slips down. I'm like, this is not a short. It looks too freaking good. And it's a sad reality is that like you just assume that a short's going to be low budget. It's going to be a throwaway show, nothing to it. I think it works really well as a short because it is like 2 or 3 skits per episode where they meet up and something happens. Then he goes back to the lair and he's writing down information and some dude walks in the door. Yeah. I made you some food. And he just gets mad because they walked in. He has to shut his laptop because it's got something on the screen. Like he's got research images of her when she's doing her daily routine. And he's got all these little pictures up on his computer. And he's got to shut it whenever they walk in the door. It looks so good. It's got great animation. And I think it's each segment in each little skit is I get long enough that it doesn't really outplay. It's not that each of them is a joke, but it is sort of a setup of something happening, a cause, a climax, and
none of them overstay their welcome. Yeah. It's one of the nice things about it.
That was kind of my point. Is it doesn't, and the episode itself doesn't overstay its welcome, so it's got like just enough there to kind of chew on, and the episode ends. So it actually works very well as a short. I mean, they could probably do something more with it if it's a little bit longer. I must be wrong. I thought there was something here that was similar to another show. Her design definitely reminds me of something. I can't quite place it, but she looks gorgeous. Her design is absolutely gorgeous. I love her demeanor. Her very soft-spoken nature is very gorgeous. Again, the animation's gorgeous. A lot of the skits had me laughing out loud. Like the whole slime moment was right? Perfect. Like he's literally like, okay, the slime's out there, everybody's doing their job, he's got all these slimes over here, there's a massive slime over here, and he's flipping through all of his cameras on his phone, and then suddenly one pops up and she's just like, and she's just like making all these like inappropriate moaning noises because she's being attacked by this slime and is licking her and she's all embarrassed and everything, and he's just like staring at it, and suddenly his glasses break, and then suddenly cut over, ramping up the dramatic music, and he just does this massive flame strike on the thing and it blasts it away, and he catches her on the way down, and he's like, honestly, a slime, you lost to a slime, and she's just like, oh man, and he's like, oh god, she's so cute. And she's sitting there coughing on slime gunk and everything. It's so cute. Like it's got that twinge of like romance in there, just enough, that cute romance between the two of them. At the same time, he's conflicted about, basically being a traitor to his group. He wants to help her. Again, I hate how tragic and screwed up her situation is because it kind of puts a little bit of a damper on it. Again, the whole thing with the cube that she's got, that thing needs to die. Like it's so bad, but it technically sets up the joke that she has no money. She never can sleep. She's constantly working. She's getting set up to do massages and stuff like that for random strangers. And it's like
magical night massages.
He's like, destroy all these. She's like, you haven't used these yet, right? Destroy them all. She's working at a convenience store on left and right. It's just like, it feels so sad. Like my heart breaks for this girl. And again, they've done so well to kind of set up the whole story. And my only fear they have right now is I'm like, this can't keep going, right? At some point, this is going to get tiresome, right? That's my only fear is like the expectation, like I've been, I guess, trained into believing that eventually this is going to get tiresome. They did it Inu Boku. Okay. I don't see the similarity there, but I did not realize the same creator as Inu Boku, sorry. Huh. But I'm loving it. I think it's easily like the biggest surprise for me. Like I came into it really expecting nothing. I think I've seen trailers of it when we covered it in the preview, but I think when we covered it, it was like, okay, a throwaway magical girl short. It'll probably be, just a dorky little kind of throwaway show, but I'm pleasantly surprised by it. So I'm eagerly awaiting more of the show. I hope that it doesn't get stale at some point. I was looking for the character designer. I'm guessing they don't have a designated character designer. They have to. It's their director, chief animation director too. Okay, that's why I missed it. Nothing rings a bell. Good stuff though. I highly recommend it. I'm really enjoying it. It's gonna be probably one of the few times that I'm probably gonna put a short up in my most enjoyed shows of the season so far. That's how much I'm liking it. So again, that is the magical girl and the evil lieutenant used to be arch nemesis. Hopefully they stop being arch nemesis, so he kills the Kyubey. The Kyubey must die. He has a big, massive flame strike. He can probably kill that stupid cat. Was it a cat? It was a cat, wasn't it?
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Need to save her. Byakuya needs to be saved badly. The poor little girl is so tired. Let her have a day off. Give the cute magical girl a day off. Anyways, that's what we'll do for today. Pretty meaty episode of shows. Still got plenty more to go through, so definitely stick with us. We'll, as we go along the weeks, there'll be less shows that I will wait for Chris on.
Right.
So currently, the shows that I said that I wanted you to watch, Stepsister. I want you to at least watch 3 episodes of Stepsister. I'll be curious as to your thoughts on that one, because I think it's doing. It might be boring though. I found it's like one of those shows where I can see people thinking it's boring, but it's intriguing. Too Many Heroines. You already watched that one, right? Or you started watching
that one.
Okay, so I don't have to push you on that one. You enjoying it though, right?
Yes, I
Okay,
plan
good.
on watching that one.
Okay, we'll wait on the impressions. The other one, what was the other one? I'm gonna watch one more episode of Become Normal before I tell you if you need to watch that or not, because it does have an intriguing thing. I guess that's it. I think everything else you've pretty much picked up on, so I don't think there's anything else that I need to push you on.
Currently my plan is to keep up with what I've got.
You got some stuff to drop.
Yes, I have some stuff to
You
drop.
got some stuff to drop.
But I plan on doing, I guess, days with my stepsisters are going to be this week.
At least 3 episodes.
Monogatari is probably going to be top on my list this week.
It is so sad. I looked at Mal, and now again, I always put the disclaimer there. Mal is not the end all be all metric for anime fans or anything like that. It's just it's a good way of seeing, because there's not like these. It's not like Crunchyroll tells us how many people watched each episode of a show. It's a decent metric. What was it like? What do you think Monogatari series is in, based on memberships on Mal? Where do you think Monogatari series off season is? Like, get a guess 1 to 50 of the shows, or it's actually 60 shows. There's 60 shows in a season. Where do you think it places in membership?
I would figure it's probably in the lower 3/4.
I think it was like 26th place or something like that.
That's higher than half.
But
Wow.
such a beloved franchise like this.
Well,
like,
I would think that
it's that drop off, dude. It's so sad, that drop off.
Exactly. Well, my thinking when I said lower 3/4, I was thinking more along the lines of the only ones who would care to watch it would be the people who have watched the first
80 plus episodes. Yeah.
So I mean the
That's what I mean by the drop
barrier
off.
to entry would be insane.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the drop off, is that like this series has been adapted over so many years, and you have that life expectancy of an anime fan, which I think is probably these days probably increasing a little bit more due to online and the discussion and the availability of the shows. But it's like, I realized at some point, because I was wanting to cover it weekly, because I enjoy talking about Monogatari series, but like I said before, there is this kind of struggle that I have as a content creator, that how much time it takes me to put together a video for a show, and I post it and it doesn't get much viewership. There is a struggle there that I have, not that I care nothing but about views, but that I can focus on serving more people and getting more views by covering something else. There's a lot of shows I want to cover right now, but I do have a love and a strong passion for Monogatari series, so I want to cover that. And at some point I'm like, is nobody watching this show? Because it doesn't feel like it. You would assume a beloved franchise like Monogatari series, which is on the top 10 list of so many people, as this is a masterpiece. This series is a masterpiece. why does it feel like nobody's watching this show? And then like I said, I went to Mal, and again, I acknowledge that Mal's not the end all be all, but I'm like, you expect it to be at least 15th or something like that. And I'm like, no, there's just nobody watching this show. It feels like, and it kind of reflects on Mal. Now, again, there's a lot of people that probably just don't care about putting it on Mal. That could be too, but yeah, so I think it is a drop-off point for people. It's been going on for so long, so those people that have watched it from the beginning are dropping off of anime. And then, yeah, like you said, you have the new anime fans that are coming in the picture, and they're like, what is this Monogatari series? And they look at there and they see, is there a dub available? So there's going to be a lot of the dub fans are just going to be not going to watch it because it doesn't have a dub. And you have a lot of people that are going to look at it and go, that's a lot of episodes to watch. And the other problem...
It's very wordy.
It's very wordy, yes. It's very hard to keep up with. It's not going to be enjoyable for a lot of people if you don't like very character conversation, dialogue driven stuff. Not so much I need a plot to happen right now. Why are they talking about how long why does he have this long dialogue over the flipping up of her skirt? The ecchi is a big, obviously a put off for some people, but then additionally you just have the fact that it's a lot. It's so you have to look up a guide. And then, is everything available? Like, even Crunchyroll doesn't have it all listed on one page. You have to look up each individual, which it boggles my mind. I don't know why they don't have that on a drop-down. They should have a drop-down where it drops down Nisei, second season, or all those in a list. Why is it there in separate entries is beyond me, because nobody knows. If somebody brings up off-season Monster Season right now on Crunchyroll, they're going to think that that's the only show. They're not going to have any context that this is literally like way in the future. Like this is not way in the future, but this is an after point of the last of the series because Araragi goes off to school. I think it's confusing. It's too much of an entry, and yes, there's way too many episodes. So it's kind of a struggle that I ran into. But that new OP was great though. All the Sengoku Nadekos. Like a whole bunch of cute little Sengoku and Nadekos running around. It's super cute. I loved it. Anyways, that's we'll talk about that next week or the following week. But I am thoroughly enjoying it. It's just a return to, like I said, with a lot of people, it's a return of Shaft that I thought we lost. So, anyways, that's here's right here. It's 28th. I looked up last week and it was the 28th place on Mal. That is the nicety of Mal though. At least Mal is that. Because they're separated, most people that are voting or scoring it are people that have watched all the other seasons, so they're in it for the long haul, so they probably like it, so they're going to obviously score it higher. So mostly all sequels get higher scores because people stick around, except for Attack on Titan. after was it season 3 part 2, ratings started going down. Anyways, that's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed these first impressions of the summer 2024 anime season. Again, join us next week because we will go through more of them. But for now, that is it. We hope you guys enjoyed. Again, we're at talkspirit.com, so where you can go for all of our links, social media links, ways to get a hold of us, ways to support us. Greatly appreciate everybody that supports the channel. Again, if you're listening to the podcast of this, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkspirit. I did a bunch of videos on all these shows and many more, so you can check those out. So anyways, until next time, y'all take care.
Os.